listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
I want to welcome everybody out here to Black Cat Field. Man, atmosphere is amazing out here tonight as we got two teams. Salado Eagles have flown into Black Cat land at 3-1, and Mejia's 3-1. And the winner tonight is going to have second place pretty much all wrapped up when they leave tonight. We're here at Black Cat Stadium with Freddie Greer, Jeremy Sunday. Wallace High be joining us here pretty soon. It's a nice, crisp night, Freddie.
Very nice. Cool. Very cool.
We were supposed to be indoors, but Freddie let me down again. We can get here, bring my babies. We going to be all cozy tonight, and Freddie's got us out in the cold air now.
Well, I tried.
Well, that's what happens when you let a goat handle things. But we just want to thank all y'all that's tuning in to listen to us tonight. It's been an awesome year. It's hard to believe we're in the 9th game of the year, Freddie.
Yeah, it is.
Back in July, I had a swing for the cure with Woodman Life, and Freddie had his equipment up at the field where we raised the money for the Cancer Society. And Freddie said, "Hey, Jeremy, man," he said, you're back. And I said, "Yes, I moved back in February." And he said, "Would you like to do some Black Cat play-by-play with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And I jumped on board, and we've really enjoyed it this year. Wallace has jumped in and helped us some. We've done a couple of JV games. But as everything else that's fun, it goes by quick.
Very quick.
So now we're down to the 9th game. Mejia's 3-1 in district, and Salado's 3-1 in district, with each team only having one game left next week. So both teams look to be pretty good, locked into the playoff race. However, it's going to be a lot better to go at number 2 than it will be number 3.
So with this win tonight, with Mexia, will sure enough put them in the number 2 seat?
It will clinch a playoff spot for them and put them as the number 1 or number 2 due to the fact that they beat Salado, and that's the only team that could tie them.
Gotcha.
They would have the head-to-head.
Well, it's going to be a good game tonight.
The wind is a little bit up, but from what I understand, Salado's pretty much a running team, and Mexia, they will throw the ball, but they haven't thrown it just an abundance of times in any game. So the wind should not factor in on this game.
It's going to be a good game, but I think with the speed that Mexia has, I don't think Salado's defense going to be able to match up.
That's the one thing that you think about if you look back through our district, and we've played everybody but Lorena. And even some of the teams that we've had that were in the top 10 and 3A that we played in preseason, we haven't played a team that was faster than us. And you can look on that film all day, and you can get your scout team out there, but when you actually finally line up against the speed, it's hard to adjust to speed.
Yes, it is. It's very hard.
And from what I understand, Salado runs a wing tee, so they're just going to line up and they're going to run it at you, and they're going to hope to get 3 to 4 yards of carry and control the game and be the aggressor.
I know they are a fast-paced offense.
So with their wing tee, they're going to run it up quick and have quick snaps is what Freddie means by that. They're not going to be an air raid where they run up there and they look over and see what the defense looks like. They're going to run up and set their offense the way they want their offense set, and they're going to quick snap that ball.
Yes, sir.
And that's where our defense has to get ready to be ready. I mean, it's one thing when you're lining up and you're having to adjust to wide receivers. You're not going to be adjusting to a lot of wide receivers tonight.
No, you won't.
You're going to be adjusting to where they put their wing tee left or right, where they have their power, and where they have their strong side. So it's a different offense than you're used to running against, and that's what makes it even harder to scout a team like this, because you play so many spread offenses these days that it's just you go out and you practice against your own offense if you're a spread offense. But now you're asking a scout team to line up and run a wing tee that this team runs nonstop every year, and they've got it perfected. And to try to get your scout team to come in there and run top notch, it's just tough.
Do they pass any?
I have been asking around and said they do pass just a tad if they absolutely have to, but they're not a passing team. They are a ground and pound. And I hope all y'all out there that's getting to listen to us tonight was able to take 30 to 45 minutes and go watch the coaches show we had with Sandoval this past week. We also interviewed 3 of the Black Cats, and that would have been Evan Harrison, Jaden Proctor, and Jarrell Wiley, and it was a great evening, a lot of fun. Those 3 guys are very down-to-earth. Coaches got them coached down to earth. The biggest thing I took from that was, and I spoke with him again today, is our church cooked for the varsity today, and we had them some brisket and green beans and mashed potatoes. But the biggest thing that Coach Sandoval just preaches and preaches and preaches is they're not worried about next week. They're not worried about last week. They're worried about 1-0 this week.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So they're lining up out here, and they're running their offense. Tonight is a special night here at Black Cat Stadium. It's our last home game, and we're going to be honoring our veterans and first responders, and I want to thank all y'all out there that do that. There's a lot of hard work. Your families have to sacrifice a lot. But tonight, before the game, Woodman Life has a flag. That's a 20-yard by 30-yard flag, and we're going to get that out, and that's what we're going to hold up while we sing the national anthem. It's some things that you see in the Super Bowl sometime, and it's going to be pretty awesome. Freddie, that it's actually going to happen at Black Cat Field tonight.
Black Cat Field tonight.
And I want to thank Woodman Life for the flag. We have that at my office. Any of y'all have any events that y'all want us to break this flag out? I don't mind doing that at all. We're here to help our heroes and look at our first responders and look at our veterans and just thank them for the sacrifice that they had in their life to make sure that we stay safe and we're free. As the crowds start to kind of pile in here, it's around 6:52, about 7 o'clock. I've got to head down to the field and start getting the flag ready. But I'll be right back up here, hopefully a couple of minutes into the game after we get the flag all wrapped up and put back in the box. But it's just a special night here at Black Cat Field. We're going to honor our veterans and first responders. We're going to have a huge flag. We got the Salado Eagles that have flown into Black Cat land, and the Cats look to be ready.
They are ready.
Looks to be lots of electricity on the sideline. They look crisp. Let's see, we threw 5 balls up, and we caught 4 of the 5 that hit the wide receiver's hands. So the Black Cats are ready. Going to run a little goal line offense here, and the Cats will get in and get all ready, and we'll get on the field and get the flag ready to bring out on the 35. It stretches from it's real awesome for y'all out there listening. This flag is going to stretch from the 35 to the 35. As we're down here kicking extra points and field goals, Black Cats are getting all hyped up. That's one thing that we hadn't really talked much about this year, Freddie, but our kickers have been very accurate this year for the Black Cats.
Yes, he has. Very accurate.
We have 2 different kickers. We have a right-legged kicker that last week he kicked the ball a little bit stronger than what our left-handed kicker, our left-footed kicker kicks it. So he was kicking into the wind, and Robinson. And there goes all the footballs went through the uprights for the Black Cats. Look like they're going to pull them in. And they're going to get ready to go into the locker room. And while they do that, I'm going to ease to the field to get this flag ready for the honor and the veterans and first responders. I want to thank y'all out there. We're going to listen to some music, and we'll be back for Black Cat football at Black Cat Stadium.
Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Today's game brought to you by Eagle Auto Parts, located on Main Street. For more information, visit eagleauto.com. Today's game brought to you.
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays. You're listening.
All right, and it's Wallace High here with Mexia Sports Network. We are coming at you on tonight, this Friday night, from Mexia Black Hat Field. We're going to bring you the game between the Mexia Black Hats and the Salado Eagles. We're about away from kickoff. The team's been up, still stretching, getting themselves loose for the game. We are going to have our law enforcement appreciation ceremony today prior to game time, prior to the opening kickoff, as the personnel who are getting ready to work that are getting in place on the field. We're going to go back to our sponsors for just a little while longer, and then we'll come back and we'll be live towards the beginning of the ceremony as well through the opening game ceremonies and then into our opening kickoff. All right, and as we come back to Black Hat Field, the teams are entering the field. The bands are playing. The flags for Mexia are coming out as they usually do to lead the team onto the field. And the Black Hats are making their way out to the midfield as the captains will line up. And the officials are beginning to bring them out. I believe since we're doing the law enforcement ceremony, we're not going to bring the captains out yet. We're going to do the playing of the national anthem and the service, the ceremony prior to. And as I speak, they're announcing as local law enforcement agents, officers from the Mexia Police Department, Limestone County Sheriff's Department, Texas Highway Patrolmen, the Mexia Fire Department, and EMTs make their way to midfield as they're going to begin to enclose the flag that is stretched from 40 to 40 in the middle of the field prior to the playing of the national anthem. We're going to take a minute and we're going to allow the ceremony to be played out and the services to go forward. As the captains are meeting at midfield, we have some law enforcement officers who are joining in on the coin toss with the players and the officials. And as we look down and they're going to flip the coin, the officials talking to both teams. We do want to take this moment to say thank you to our law enforcement agents, our officers, to our first responders, also to our men and women serving in the military. We know that that's a big point for Freddie Greer, who we always talk about, who's the behind-the-scenes man for us, as he did serve in the military himself. And as the coin is flipped, Salado wins the toss. They choose to defer until the second half. Mexia has chosen to receive the opening kickoff. They will defend the east end of the field, kicking west to east. And it's a fairly cold night here at Black Hat Field. Looking at the flags, there's a little brisk breeze. It's not near the wind that we saw on last week. The weather isn't as bad as we've seen on last week, but again, the temperature has dropped. It's a colder night, and we're going to take a pause as we get ready to play the national anthem, or have the national anthem played, and the scene of the local law enforcement agents, the Mexia Black Hat team, and other members holding the American flag as the national anthem is prepared to be played. We'll take a break and let you enjoy the national anthem. Mexia's going to run the punt unit onto the field. And you want to get started early, and unfortunately Mexia wasn't able to get anything going on that offensive possession, and they're going to go 3 and out and look to punt here. It'll be Prince Banks drop back deep, set at the 20-yard line for the deep snap for the punt. Snaps back to Banks. Good kick off his foot as it spirals, and it's fair caught by Salado's number 2 at the 38-yard line. And on that fair catch for Salado was Rook Brown. And now we're going to get to see Mexia's defense. Many have said that the defense for Mexia may be the strong point, and Salado's offense is one of their strong points as well, because it's such a different formation, a different look than most of the teams you see nowadays run. They're going to get into that wing T, that slot T formation. They're going to come out and they're going to keep the formation pretty tight. Run up. They're a run first team. In an era where, and this is snapback, it's handed off to number 2 around the right edge, and he's drugged down. He's drugged down on that play by number 17, Will Coleman. He does pick up about 5 yards on the run. As we were saying before the play, they run up to the line quick, set, snap the ball, and try to hit you with misdirection and a lot of different motions in the backfield out of that formation. And nowadays you see more teams spreading the ball out, trying to move fast, trying to get things going. And Salado just lines it up, and they try to pound it out. And that time the running back's brought down off the right edge of the offense by number 52, Connor McNeil. We do have a flag down. We're gonna see what the flag is as the officials get together and talk about it. Looks like it might be an offsides against Mexia, and that's what it is. It's going to be an offsides penalty against Mexia. It's going to be a 5-yard march off. It doesn't give them enough for the first down, so it's going to bring up 2nd and about 1 on the play. Mexia's defense is on a knee and already awaiting the Salado offense to come up to the line as they send in the play. Salado hustle. Receiver and center hustle up. The rest of the team comes to the line. Snap back. Hand off around the left side. And number 2 picks up about 3 yards on that play. It's going to be enough yardage for a first down. And again, that's Rook Brown for Salado on the run, on the carry. And we talked about, we said this at the beginning of the broadcast, that this is what Salado does. They come out, they hand the ball off, they run at you, and they just take those 2 and 3 yard pickups every play, maybe a 5-yard pickup, and they move the chains. And there's going to be a handoff straight up the middle. And he's going to pick up about 4 yards, but there is a flag down. Looks like it's going to be an offsides against Mexia again, as Salado seems to be given a hard count, and the Mexia defensive line is jumping into that neutral zone. And that's just what you have to watch with a team like this. They're going to take those plays. They're going to try to get the offsides. They're going to take the 2 or 3 yard gains, the 4 or 5 yard gains, and move the sticks. And not only are they moving the ball down the field, but they're letting that clock run, and they're limiting the amount of possessions the other opposing team's offense can have. So right now we see Salado hustle up to the line. Quarterback's under center, snaps there. He gives it to the end coming around, and it's number 2 again, and he's met by a host of Black Cats. Looks like leading the way is big Eric Medlock. It's going to be a pickup of about 2 or 3 yards on that play. It's going to bring up 2nd and about 3 at the Mexia 43-yard line. And here we have Salado sending the play in again. The receiver gives the play. They break out of the huddle. Team hustles up. They're going to be in a tight formation this time. Handoff is up the middle, and the ball carrier is brought down. I see there's flags in the middle of that pile. Looks like to be about the area of a holding. We're going to wait and see what the official word is on that flag. And as we're waiting, we're going to say hey to Jeremy as he's made his way up to the booth with us.
Oh, he's
got a chop block. So that's gonna be a personal foul against the Salado Eagles, and it's gonna march them back 15. And that's something that the Black Cats can use, because as we talked about, the way this offense runs is this offense is meant to stay on schedule. And when you get them behind the chains, unless they can pop a big play, it's hard for them to get back to where they want to be. So it's gonna bring up 2nd and about 17. We're going to say 18 on this play. And Salado hustles up to the line of scrimmage, snaps back. Quarterback keeps it. He's got some pressure. He goes to throw it. Oh, and the ball is intercepted by Prince Banks. And then he's drugged down by the receiver, who's number 24 for Salado. But that's a great play by Prince Banks, as he read the pass, and he came out from that outside position, and he just ran underneath the receiver and put one paw up, knocked it out of the air, and juggled it around so he could bring it in, and then tried to get a couple yards after the interception, but he was brought down by number 24. You know, that's a great play. That's exactly what you want and you need when you're playing a team like this, especially when you weren't able to get anything on the board. Your first possession, your first drive, getting that turnover and getting Salado's offense off the field is a big plus for the Black Cats.
Well, Mexia also could have been really hyped up coming out with everything, the first responders going on. So now they can calm down on their second series and go to work.
This is going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle. There's a flag down in the middle of the line in the area of a holding, and that looks like what the official is signaling. We'll get the official word.
You know, I've only been up here a couple of minutes, but I was also watching as I was walking up here, and it looks like this is going to be a game of many, many flags.
Yeah, you know, and that is going to be holding against Mexia, so it'll be a 10-yard penalty, and it'll bring up 1st and 20 for the Black Cats. Yeah, Jeremy, you know, just as what you were saying, and just in the first drive for each team, and then the first play of this drive, I want to say there's already been 5 flags thrown, you know, in less than 4 minutes of gameplay. So we want to see both teams clean that up, kind of have a more smooth game going. And
you know, though, a lot of these flags are flags that they're calling down in the trenches.
Right.
And if they're going to throw flags on every play, we might as well not even be playing.
Well, when you have two teams like this that run the ball so much, you're going to get things happening in the trenches. Snaps back to Proctor. He hands it off to Jones around the right side. He makes a couple good cuts, and he picks up about 14 or 15 yards on that run, Jeremy. And that was a little change of pace with Jones getting it that time, and he was able to get off the right tackle's hip and make a couple hop steps and skips and move the ball on up the field, and that's a good play, especially with it being 1st and 20. So that gets you back to 2nd and about 6.
And keeps you on course to pick up the first down with the way that Mexia has run the ball this year.
Right. We do see that there's a Mexia player being tended to on the field right now as the team's huddled up around them and the training staff is out. We're gonna hope that young man is all right. It's nothing serious, and they can get it worked out and get him back on the field.
And that looks like that might be Brandon Goose.
Yeah, it looks like one of the big guys up front.
Look, either cramping or twisting an ankle there.
Yeah, the one good thing is that he's walking off under his own power. He doesn't need any assistance. So hopefully he can get over there. He can work it out, stretch it out, and get back on the field because he's one of our big guys up front, and that's not one you want to lose right now.
Well, Mexia has come out, and they have a running back on each side of Proctor here, which would be Wiley and Jones. It's just going to be a handoff
to Wiley, and Wiley breaks free and puts his head down and picks up a first down.
That's just Wiley being the running back that you talk about each and every week. It's just he's a hard runner. He's falling forward the whole time.
Right, and he picked up about 10 yards on that run and moved the ball down to the Salado 36-yard line. You know, and that's the one thing that we know you're going to get week in, week out from Mexia is those guys, whoever it is that gets in that backfield, they're going to run the ball hard and try to make something happen.
Now Mexia comes out with twins to the top, running back on each side of Proctor. It's going to be snapped back and a quick throw out
pass
to the right side, which is just a little out route to Holman for about 5 yards. He turns it up and picks up a couple of yards.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to end up picking up about 7 or 8 yards on that, Jeremy. And like you said, it was just an easy little out route, and it was a pitch and catch from Proctor to Holman, which is a great first down play because it picks up 8 yards, and now you're at 2nd and 2.
Well, more important, what that play does is it makes Salado think, hey, they might throw the ball, so they can't put everybody in the box to stop the run. Because when they do, then Mexia hits you with a pass over the top. It's going to be a snap back to Proctor. Wiley's going to take it up the middle, and he's just punishing folks up the middle.
Yeah, he puts his head down, and he just runs over a man, and he picks up about 5 yards on that run. And
the
he
one
moves
thing
the
I
chain.
can say, this is the first time in 3 weeks that Mejia's not playing a team that's twice their size.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say they're probably not twice their size, but I was down there when they were coming off the field, and they got some pretty big boys down there also.
Yes, but Fairfield had some real big boys, and then Conley was big all the way around, and Robinson always has big guys.
Yeah.
But Salado's more Mejia size.
Yeah, you know, and it's easy to see the contrast out there tonight. And Wiley gets the ball up the middle. He's drugged down right about the line of scrimmage.
That's the first time tonight that Salado was able to get him before he had 2 or 3 yards of steam rolling.
Yeah, and that time they just got a little bit of penetration and were able to wrap him up. You know, I'm saying it's easy to tell the contrast tonight because Mejia's out there and they're all black, you know, special uniforms for the law enforcement appreciation, and Salado's out there in all white with their red helmets today.
So Mejia's going to snap back to Proctor and hand off to Wiley.
Hand off to Wiley. He's tripped up. Yeah, and he was just tripped up in the backfield that time and wasn't able to get going. It's going to bring up about third and 10.
I guess Salado got mad at me for talking about they weren't as big as what we had been playing because they have stiffened up these last 2 plays since I made a statement about it.
Yeah, you know, they're getting some penetration, and what you have to look at is that you had a lineman come in all of a sudden on this drive for one of your top guys, and they're getting a little penetration off of that side right now. So you're going to see if that guy can step it up and pick up some of those key blocks.
To the bottom, we're going to roll out.
Proctor steps up and a nice throw to Holman.
And he's going to be a couple of yards short. Or is they going to give him enough for the first down? No,
it should be enough for a first down. Looks like they're marking it at about the 13-yard line.
That'll be another Black Cat first down.
And that's going to bring up 1st and 10 from the 13. And that was a great play. You know, they were rolling Proctor out that time, and he just checked up and settled his feet, and he stood tall and delivered the ball right to Holman down the field. Holman grabbed the ball, turned around, and put his head down for about another yard or 2, which let him get that first down.
Well, Mexia comes up. They got twins to the bottom, one running back in the back, and they're just going to pitch it to Holman on a swing around to the right. And he's
and he bounces off. He's still running.
And he's going to go in for a Black Cat touchdown.
You know, and that's a great play by Holman and the Black Cats because he looked like he was going to get tackled twice on that play, and he just bounced off the tacklers and kept rolling around the right side and was able to get into the end zone.
That really gives Salado something to think about. They're looking for 5 and 22, and now you got 7 coming around the end, running over your cornerbacks and strong safeties and running in for a touchdown.
Right, and Mexia sets up in their swinging gate. Then they go to the traditional field goal extra point formation. And we'll have Mr. Martinez, number 42, set to tee it up. Snaps back, holds down, kicks up, and the kick is good. So Mexia takes an early lead, 7-0 over the Salado Eagles with 4:55 left in the first quarter.
And that right there is a perfect example of what is big and crucial in games where you're playing opponents that are as equal to you is turnover battle. And Mexia was able to get an early turnover, and they took it and marched down the field and put 7 points on the board and gave themselves the momentum to start the game out here.
Right, and we talked about it earlier, Jeremy. When you're playing a team that wants to control the clock, you have to take advantage of each possession that you get. And Mexia was able to take advantage of getting that turnover and getting the ball back. And so now we're going to see Mexia kicking off to Salado from east to west. And Salado's taking the field, getting ready for the kick. We're going to see if they're able to answer the Mexia score and see if Mejia's defense is up for the challenge again to come out and stop the Salado offense.
So now Mexia will be kicking the ball off right to left. And the wind is tried picking up just a tad.
Yeah, the flags are blowing a little bit more now.
I'm telling you, I'm so glad the wind was not blowing. We had the big flag up down there. We did it for Veterans Day last year in March, and the wind was blowing, and I thought we were all going for a ride.
And it's going to be a high, deeper kick than normal, and it's
got
a fair catch. Back at about the 24-yard line. So Mejia's going to pin Salado inside their 25 to start this drive as the Salado offense gets prepared to take the field and the Black Hat defense gets prepared to take the field. It'll be the second possession for Salado's offense.
They're going to move it up to the 25?
Because he called the fair catch.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a new rule. If you call fair catch on the kickoff, then they place the ball in at the 25-yard line.
Mexia has changed their defense this game, which is awesome to see.
Right, when they're going to a 5-man front, and especially when a team's going to run the ball as much as Salado does.
And
that's a big hit.
Hits number 24 for Salado.
And Mejia's defensive line, they're holding their own.
Reed Vincent just took a heck of a shot from Big Eric.
And Mejia's defensive line is taking out the offensive line for Salado, and he tried to hop over some guys that were on the ground, and as he got off his feet, Big AK came across the middle and put his shoulder straight into his chest and drove him into the ground. It's going to be a handoff.
But he's brought is the ball out? It looked like Mexia was jumping on the ball. Looks like they just stopped him for about a 2-yard gain. And
this is going to bring up third down and about 6. And this here, and that's one of the things we talked about earlier this week, Jeremy, is how Mejia's defense was going to have some eye discipline out there going against because there's so much going on when you're in that wing tee or that slot tee formation. You got guys coming across the line, guys going the other way. You have dive men, you have pitch men. And Salado's going to take the snap.
And we had Mexia. They didn't throw a flag on it.
And the pass is out. And it's a big hit
from. That is going to be a yard short, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be just short of the first down.
That was Lamarian Miller laying the hit on number 2.
As they were able to get the pass out to the flats to number 2, and he tried to go upfield. Lamarian Miller just came beelining from his safety spot, and as you say, he laid the wood on that young man.
Mejia's come out hitting tonight, but we got lucky there because it looked like our right defensive end had jumped on that play. And they're going to try to get him to jump off sides.
Yeah, they're going to try to give him a hard count. And Mejia's holding the water so far.
No!
And he's stuffed up. But then he breaks loose.
And there's a hold right there on the backside as number 22 for Salado breaks down the sideline. And he's going to be tackled about the Black Hat 22, 24-yard line.
They had him in the backfield stopped up, and he was able to bounce off and get around, and everyone had flown into the line of scrimmage to stop him on the short yardage, and he was able to get a big hole and catch a crease. Another big hit. As the running back's able to get the ball down to the 20-yard line on that play.
Pickup of about 4. He was stopped in the backfield once again, and he was able to wiggle out, and he took a couple of steps inside, and one Black Cat grabbed him, and then Cooper come in and just finished it off.
Yeah, tonight it looks like we're going to get to see some good old school smash mouth football, a lot of big hits. Because Salado's running the ball and Mejia's defense is trying to come up and lay the hammer on them. As Salado comes back up to the top, it's a pitch out to the right. And
Dawson
that's big Dawson Scott.
At the 21-yard line.
And Dawson just came straight through the offensive line in that little bunch set over on the right from those up backs, and he was able to be faster than the back getting out to the outside, and he drug him down.
And that's a loss of a yard, so now it's going to bring up third and about 6.5 longs, long 6.5, 7 yards. As Salado's trying to answer the score by Mexia, they got the ball on the Black Cat 21-yard line here.
They hustle to the line of scrimmage. Snaps back and is giving up the middle. And Black Cats are able to bring him down.
That's going to be gaining about 3 yards, so it's going to bring up another fourth
Yeah,
and short.
fourth and three. And I don't know. I didn't see Salado's kicker in the pregame kicking the ball very much, Jeremy. So I don't know if they're going to try to kick a field goal or if they're just going to line up and try to. Looks like they're going to bring the kicker out. And it's going to be number 2, who, as we said, is Rook Brown. Looks like he's going to be the do-it-all for Salado tonight, as he sets the tee and he takes his steps to mark off.
Mejia's watching for the fake field goal here.
Snaps back, the kick's up, and it's short. It's going to be short and no good.
So the Black Cats will be taking over on their own 21-yard line.
Right, and again, that's a big win for the Black Cat defense, as they were able to keep Salado from putting any points up on the board after they were able to get that big run.
Yeah, that's the one thing that drive, they went 3 or 4 yards on just about every play except for the one big one that they were able to break. So it's good to see Mexia getting them in the fourth down situations, because eventually you're going to start stopping those.
Right, and that's what you need. You have to be able to get them off the field without letting them extend drives and put points on the board.
Mexia comes out with 2 running backs on each side of Proctor. It's just going to be a straight handoff to Wiley. He's trying to make it to the outside, and he's going to be drugged down for about a 6-yard loss.
Yeah, and he was just strung out that time. He didn't have anywhere to cut up. He didn't have anywhere to go, and they just ran him out to the sideline.
That's one of the plays you just cut it up and throw it in the trash, and let's go to the next play.
Yeah, and he'll learn. You stick your foot in the ground, put your shoulders down, and dive forward, and just try to get as close to that line of scrimmage as you can.
So we got a second down and about 15 here for the Black Cats. As they come to the line of scrimmage, they're going to come up with twins to the bottom. One tight end.
A single back with an up back.
And Proctor's going to send Holman in. And it's going to be a handoff misdirection, but he's going to be all bottled up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Salado stayed at home on that one, and they weren't fooled. And the end over here for Salado was able to fight off a block and make a tackle. Is that going to be the last play
of the first quarter?
And with the time running down in the first quarter, looks like Mejia's going to let it run on down to the end of the first. And so as the clock trickles down, we'll end the first period with Mexia on top of Salado 7-0. We're going to take a quick break, bring you a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with second quarter action.
Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, the Mexia Black Cat start the second quarter with a 7-0 lead, and they have the ball on their own 15 with a 3rd and 15 to go. Mexia comes up to have twins to the top, two backs beside Proctor, which would be Jones and Wiley. And it's just a straight drop back, and Proctor's running out.
He finds a receiver, and that's going to be Evan Harrison
for a first down.
And they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
Proctor has looked really good throwing the ball tonight.
Yeah, and he's finding his receivers, and the receivers are doing a great job of running routes and getting open for him. That time he got a little pressure off the left side of the line, and then he was able to spin out and buy himself some time and throw a strike out to Evan Harrison. As Mexia comes back up to the line.
Wide receiver up top, one down low, and two running backs beside Proctor. Snap back and hand off to Wiley up the middle.
And he fights hard for about 4 yards.
And when you got 3rd and 15, especially in high school football, and you're able to go out there and pick those up, those are just backbreakers for the other team.
You know, and they're momentum builders and confidence builders for your offense. And right now it seems like Mexia's got a little swag out on offense. They're hopping around.
Come back up with one to the top and one to the bottom wide receivers, and snap back to Proctor. He's going to keep it and run up the middle himself, and he's going to be brought down about the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard to gain.
Yeah, and that time he carried out the fake, and the Salado defender thought he was going to hit Wiley in the backfield, and Proctor just pulled it out of there and shot up the middle to get a minimal gain.
Salado did a really good job on that play. They actually was able to bottle both of them up with defenders, so that one you just eat it and and live to play another day, because if you keep fighting there, that's where turnovers happen.
Right. And, you know, and Mexia's going to move back up to the line of scrimmage. We got twins down to the bottom. Single back set with the up back to the left. Oh, and it's a trap play to Wiley. And he runs, and that's enough for a first down as he gets crosses midfield and gets down to the Salado 46-yard line.
That misdirection was open on that play where it hasn't been the rest of the night. They really thought they were going to get the ball to Holdman going around to the wide side of the field. And Proctor just turned around and put it in Wiley's gut, and he come back to the opposite way and was able to pick up a good 18 yards and get another Black Cat first down.
And Mexia looks over to the sideline, waiting the signal for the play. They get it, and then they move. Plays given by Proctor, and the line takes their places up at the ball. We got twins to the top, two backs in the backfield. Snaps back. Proctor rolls left. He sets his feet, and he throws the ball deep. He's got a man. Oh!
And he's tipped away. That's a good play by number 3 for Salado.
Yeah, it was, and Proctor threw that ball up there, and it was a nice ball to Holman. It's just that number 3 happened to run right in the way, and Holman wasn't able to get to it.
It looked like he was lost, and Trey adjusted to it, and it was one of them, hey, I'm in the right spot at the right time. It wasn't designed that way.
No, because number 3 never saw the ball, and when Holman tried to adjust to it, he just happened to run into number 3 and wasn't able to get to the ball. Because that had big play written all over it.
Oh, for sure. And what happened was Holman just ran a little out and up. And when he broke up field, everybody was behind him. And he had everybody burnt. Now it's going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle. He makes a spin move, and they grabbed him.
But he picks up about 3 yards on the run. It's going to make it 3rd and about 7.
As you know, the way the Black Cat defense is playing, you would think this might be 4 down territory. You got 2 plays to get 7 yards here.
Right, and you're in Salado territory. Especially if you can pick up at least 4 or 5 yards on this play, you would think that maybe Mexia may think about going for it on 4th down.
Well, Mexia comes up with twins to the bottom, tight end to the top, man on each side of Proctor. It's going to be a snap back and a quick throw out to Holman.
Oh, and he breaks the tackle.
And he's
still running.
He's still running down the right side.
Oh, and he's still going.
And he's down to the 16-yard line as Holman is just making everybody miss him, juking to the left and to the right.
And that was just a quick pass out to the flat and then let Holman do the rest, and he did just that. He put a couple dead legs on some people and juked and cut through and made some defenders miss.
You can tell by the way Salado's lining up, Wallace, that they weren't expecting Mexia to come out and throw the ball.
No, I'm pretty sure they thought Mexia was going to just try to power run over them, because as Mexia keeps coming out in different formations, you can see the defense is trying to scramble around and get set and line up with Mexia. And Mejia's doing a good job of moving guys all over the field and getting plays off.
So Mexia comes out with one to the top and one to the bottom, wide receivers and a running back on each side of Proctor. It's going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle, and he's just bruising. I mean, when he hits you, especially if he's past the line of scrimmage, you're going to wake up with the bruises in the morning.
Yeah, and you don't expect it because he's not a big, huge guy, But when he gets out there and he gets behind his pads, he runs like he's bigger than everybody on the field.
And we interviewed him on Wednesday night, and he's just as he's deep voiced, but he's just as polite and nice as he can be. He puts pads on and flips a switch, and he's going to bruise somebody. Now it's Jones' turn up the top.
Oh, and he breaks him. Oh, and he's still running.
And it's
he's into the end zone.
Black Cat touchdown.
Oh, they're going to mark him short. But he dove into the end zone on the play. The official is marking him at the 1 yard line.
One official saying he's down, and
the far official on the Mexia sideline signaled touchdown. The official on the Salado sideline signaled that he was down at the 1.
So Mexia,
they're going to mark him at the 1 yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 1 for Mexia.
So, as a Black Cat fan out there, we got Wiley on the left and Jones on the right. It's just going to be a handoff and up the middle. Touchdown,
and Wiley just goes straight ahead.
Wiley is in for another Mexia Black Cat touchdown, and that's going to put Mexia up 13-0 with the kick, the extra point pending.
Yeah, we don't say kick too quick with the Black Cats because they come out in their swinging gait, and they look at the sideline and to determine if they're going to go for the 2 or they're going to kick it. And now they're going to run out the kickers, and the alignment comes back in tight. They're going to set up for the extra point kick.
And that'll be Martinez in on this one. Last week, Martinez he didn't do anything wrong. He got hit on the first extra point, and I don't know if he was hurt, but we had another kicker the rest of the night. But Martinez almost automatic.
Yeah, and the kicker we had in that came in for him last Friday night did a very solid job as he was able to come in and put through each extra point that he attempted.
I want to say he went 5 for 5.
I believe so. And when you have that next man up and you have confidence in the guy that's going to come up next, that's a great sign for your team. Just like we saw one of the linemen go down for Mexia in the first quarter, and the next guy came in, and Mejia's just been rolling still. So you like to see that out of a team. They're able to hit controversy, and they're able to keep trucking through it.
Well, Mejia's come out and jumped up on Salado with 7 minutes and 26 seconds left in the first half, and they're able to take the sails out from underneath them right now. It's really quiet over here on the Salado sidelines, and the Salado boys aren't hyped right now. So, this is one of them things. You kick it off here, and you get a stop in 3 downs, and if you're Mexia, you're putting your foot on their throat, and let's go for the win the first half.
Right, and against a team like this, that's what you have to do. We said it earlier. If you can get that big lead on them, their offense isn't set to try to come back from big deficits. So
Martinez kicks it up, and
going
there's
to be fair caught
at about the 32 or 33 yard line. And how this works, fans, for you out there, we were talking about earlier, he did a fair catch around the 22-yard line, but since he was inside the 25, a fair catch, he gets the ball on the 25. But anytime you're 25 up, say you're on the 31 and you fair catch, that's where you get their ball, is right there where they fair catch.
Right, and those are some of the new rules that have been put in place for player safety on the kicks and things. So, you adapt to it, you go with it, and you make it work for you, and so far that's what's been going on. Salado comes up to the line. Oh, and it's a handoff up the middle. And Mejia's there, and they sniff it out, and that's big number 52, Connor McNeil, who's able to sniff out that run and wrap up the ball carrier and bring him down for a gain of about 2 yards on that play. Salado snaps it. They're coming around the edge, and Dravion Cooper's able to get to the ball carrier that time. It was number 24 for the Salado Eagles, who is Reed Vincent. Came around the left end, and Cooper met him there. He was able to pick up about 5 yards on that. It's going to bring us to 3rd and about 3. Salado comes up to the line. They get in their tight formation, snaps back, ball's handed.
And
that's
he's Allen meeting him in the hole, but I think he's going to have enough for the Salado first down.
Jacob Allen met him right at the line, but he was able to fall forward and pick up the first down on that one. It's going to bring up 1st and 10 for Salado from their own 44-yard line.
As he barely had enough for that first down.
And the Salado offense hustles up to the line of scrimmage. Quarterback's under center. The snap's there. It's given to 24. And then he's brought down by a host of Black Cats right at the line of scrimmage. He may have gained about a foot on that play.
It looked like another Black Cat was offsides on that, but they didn't throw a flag, so he timed it pretty good. What they're doing to this swing tee is we're sending a linebacker pretty much every play with 6 down linemen and then sending a linebacker, just trying to make sure all the gaps are full.
Right, and that's what you have to do when you're getting as much movement as they are. And the ball's given up the middle, and the Black Cats stack it up. And then think all 11 Black Cats are around that tackle.
And that'll bring up a 3rd and about 7 for the Salado Eagles here.
Yeah, and like we were saying just a minute ago about how they're doing it is that the Mexia linebackers are just trying to time the quarterback. The quarterback's trying to draw them all sides. But it's not even about them just trying to shoot. The Black Hat defense is just trying to get in each hole. That's a false start on Salado, as it looked like the left tackle jumped early.
So that'll move it back 5 more yards for the Eagles. And like you talked about earlier, this isn't an offense that wants to be behind the chains at all.
No, it's an offense that where you want to pick up those 2 or 3 yards every play. If you do end up in 3rd down, it's 3rd down and 3, 3rd down and 2. You know, when you get to where they are now and it's 3rd down and 12, it kind of throws the offensive rhythm and routine off. We'll see as they come in tight.
And it's not going nowhere.
No, it was just a handoff up the middle.
And big Dawson Scott, once again, right there for the stop.
Yeah, and it was against number 22 that time for Salado, who was Hunter Turk. As he took it up the middle, Dawson Scott just said, no, you're not going nowhere.
Well, we got Holdman is back to return punts for the Black Cats, and he's been on multiple occasions just one shoestring tackle away from taking it to the house. Let's see what he can do on this one. Snap back.
It's going to be a little rugby style.
And they're just going to kick the ball away from him.
And it just dies, yeah.
You know, Salado touches it about the Mexia 27-yard line.
And it looks like that was the plan, just keep it away from Holdman and try to get
Cats
down there and down the ball, and that's exactly what they did.
Wallace, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but back in the late 80s, from around 86 to the 90 team, we had a couple of punt returners. Anthony Asbury was one of them, and then we had a Burks that come out of Crockett, and I bet in a couple of years we had 4 or 5 punt returns returned for touchdowns. Them cats was fast, and when they broke around the corner, it was a foot race, and nobody caught them.
Right, and I played with a couple guys that was the same way. If you punted to them and they were able to get underneath the ball, it may have been a track meet, and we didn't think we were going to lose too many of those.
Well, Jones takes the handoff from Proctor on this one, and he's going to gain a couple of yards.
Yeah, he gets about 2 on a hard run up the middle.
So Mexia Black Cats come to the line of scrimmage. They had one man up top and one down low with a tight end, and they had an up back with a Jones in there running. Now they've got Wiley back in there, and Holdman and Harrison will be down here to the bottom of the line.
You have a tight end up top,
That'll
2 backs in the backfield,
and Proctor's just going to take the snap and hand off
to Wiley up the middle, and he dives forward.
And Wiley picks up about 5 yards there.
Yeah, and he just seems like he finds the smallest little spaces, and he slithers through them and then dives out to pick up those yards. But it's going to bring up 3rd and about 5 for the Black Cats here. The ball is placed at the Mexia 34-yard line.
What is that, a Ferris wheel we got down in the corner?
I don't know. They brought in a bunch of things. We'll get to see at halftime. The second quarter clock winding down.
Snap's going to be back to Proctor here with Wiley and Jones on each side. He's not in any hurry. I really don't think we're late enough in the game to really be eating clock, though. I mean, you've got a 3rd down and 5 here. And Proctor keeps
it around the edge.
And he makes one man miss.
Oh, and
he's
right at
about
the
a yard short.
You know, and right here, you're less than a yard from that first down marker. It's tempting to see if they may get in and go try to get a first down without trying to give the ball back to Salado as the half is ending. Oh, it looks like they're going to bring in some big guys.
Looks like they're going to call a
timeout for Mexia.
And while we take this timeout, we're going to take you to our sponsors, and we'll be back at Black Cat Field with Black Cat football in moments. As we come back to Black Cat Field, the Black Cats look like they're going to keep the offense on the field here. Wallace, and
it's going to be 4th and inches, 4th and about a foot, Jeremy.
It wasn't
for a first
very much.
down.
And Salado's fans are trying to get a little loud here.
You know, and I'm looking, the clock's running off of a timeout. And they just run quarterback sneak. And it looks like, and he pushes forward for enough for the first down. The ball.
It was kind of, you were wondering there for a minute, a little tug of war going on there.
Yeah.
And Proctor was the rope, and then finally Mexia got the push and got enough for the first down.
And it was just as we were talking about. They lined up the big guys up in front and a couple backs behind him, put him under center, and he just went forward and got a good push to pick up about 2 yards right there.
Well, Mejia's got 1:49 to work here with a first down, and they have all 3 of their timeouts here. So it's going to snap back to Proctor, hand off to Wiley, and he's going to be caught in the backfield. And that's one of the few times you see a loss by Wiley. And it looked like Salado had knocked the tackle back, and Wiley just ran into the back of his own guy.
Yeah, he wasn't. He got clogged up there that time. He wasn't able to get to a hole, and Salado was able to get to him before he could change directions and make something happen. But we got 1:20 on the clock. Mexia comes up to the line of scrimmage. Proctor gives out the signal. He's got 2 backs, single receivers to each side, snaps back. Oh, and Proctor keeps it up the middle, and he's still going. He's
going to pick up about 6 or 7 yards there.
Right, and it's going to bring up 3rd and about 6.
6 or 7, and the Black Cats hustle to the huddle and come back up to the line of scrimmage.
You know, in this case, it's not that bad. You know, maybe you take another shot down the field.
That or why we're not taking a timeout and just letting critical time run off the. Unless we're just happy being up 14-0, and that could be the case right now.
Right, you got a 2-touchdown lead. You don't want to take any chances to.
You've dominated this game pretty much, other than one.
Snap back, hand off to Wiley, and he's mad and picks up about a yard on that. You know, and it looks like Mejia's just going to let the clock run out here and go into half up 14-0.
Unless Salado calls a timeout, Mexia can just let this
and
run out.
We said that, but Proctor comes back and he gets a play in, and he and the line set. And it's going to be an offside, so we're going to get a free play from Mexia. Proctor throws it down the field, and it's knocked down. And as time runs out in the half, you're going to have a defensive penalty, so you're going to get 5 yards and 1 untimed down, as the quarter cannot end on a defensive penalty.
And that should be enough for a first down. However, just being 1 play left.
And it looks like Mejia's going to run some of their bigger receivers out onto the field. And what that does is it gets Proctor up to midfield. Here with 1 untimed down, it's going to give him a chance to throw a Hail Mary down into the end zone. As we see Banks, Miller, and Holman down to the bottom. And you're going to have Harrison.
I don't know if you
Oh, and Proctor buys time, and he just throws it down.
Holman just
And, yeah.
KOs the defensive back as he went up to catch it. Holman just turned into a defensive back himself. And
he said, you know what? That ball's falling short. You're not going to catch it if I'm not going to catch it. And he just laid him out.
Well, that's the end of the first half. We have 28 minutes here while the bands play. We're going to take a little bit. We'll grab some time for ourselves here as we'll come back at halftime with some stats and some scores from around the area.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
As we come back to Black Cat Field at halftime, Jeremy Sunday bringing you some stats and scores at the half. First, we'll go over Salado's. Salado, number 2, had 10 rushes for 23 yards. 22, which had the one big one, had 5 for 49, but that one run was about a 40-yard run. So on 4 other carries, he gained about 9 yards. Number 24's had 2 for 11. They've punted 1 time for 30 yards. They got 3 penalties for 25 yards. They hadn't completed a pass yet, and have only had 3 first downs so far in the first half for Salado. Mexia, Wiley has 9 carries for 40 yards. Jones has 3 for 19. Holdman has 2 for 27. Proctor has 4 for 13. We do have 3 completions for 7 yards. Holdman has 2 catches for 19. And Harrison has 1 for 18. Mexia had 11 first downs in that first half. 3 penalties for 20 yards. And they punted 1 time for 28 yards. So Mexia leading on the scoreboard 14-0. Pretty much tells the tale of what the stats show is Mexia's defense has shown up tonight and given Salado a heck of a time when they're on offense. And when Mejia's had the ball, they've been able to, no big plays, but they've been able to march the ball down the field and score. Well, let's go to some scores around the area. La Vega is leading Brownwood. That's number 3 versus number 6. 17-0 at halftime. Stephenville's leading Gatesville 35-3. Dieball's in Franklin tonight and has a 14-0 lead at halftime. Rusk and Cantner scored 0-0 at halftime. I hate to say this, guys, but Grosbeck's getting beat once again 28-6 by McGregor. Lorena and Madisonville are.
Oh, Freddie came back in just.
Oh, Freddie, man, I hate to tell you, but the Goats are down 28-6 tonight.
You read that wrong.
How'd I read that wrong? Where'd the pizza come from? Freddie in there, he had that pizza order from the Grosbeck Pizza Hut, so.
He's eating away his sorrows.
Yeah. But Lorena's up 13-10 on Madisonville. Robinson is up on Fairfield at halftime, 13-5. That is a shocker. Crockett's leading Westwood 21-6. Caldwell leads Royal 12-6. Grandview's leading Whitney 14-7 at halftime.
I knew that was going to be a
Close game there. That was one of the games we said if the Black Cats wasn't playing, we'd love to be there to watch. Mejia's, of course, leading Salado 14-0 here. Mart, which Dawson thought it was their year, but it's not their year. Mart's up 34-0 with about 4 minutes left in the second quarter, so it'll be in the 40s before they go to halftime. Frost is over Meridian 22-0, and Hubbard and Wortham are deadlocked at 8 at halftime. Coolidge is tied once again with a top 10 team at halftime, 16-16. So that's some of our local scores around here. As Salado's just finishing up with their part of their halftime performance, and Mexia will be coming on. So we're going to go back and play some music and play some sponsorship stuff. And when we get back, it'll be the start of the second half for the Mexia Black Cats leading the Salado Eagles 14-0 here at Black Cat Field.
Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Today's game brought to you by Eagle Auto Parts, located on Main Street. For more information, visit eagleauto.com. Today's game brought
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Yes, this is Jeremy Sunday with you, calling the Black Cat game with Wallace High, being brought to you by Greer Media Time, Freddie Greer Sr. We've had a heck of a first half here. Mejia's leading 14-0, and Mejia's just come back on the field to warm up, and as I look to my left, Salado's walking across the baseball field, getting ready to come out and strap them on to finish up the second half. And yes, fans out there, this is not a miscommunication here or anything. We are at halftime, and it's only been playing for an hour, so the ball teams are running the ball, and the clock's running.
Clock is running.
And, man, I'm going to get home to watch the Mavericks play tonight.
I think we may have had 2 stoppages during the whole first half where the clock actually stopped.
Well, what was so funny is the first 2 series we had about 6 or 7 flags thrown, and then all of a sudden no more flags for the rest of the half. I mean, you can't tell me that they weren't holding on the rest of them plays. I think someone buzzed down to the Zebras and said, "Hey guys, they're not here to watch y'all. Let the guys play."
I think they realized, hey, both teams are gonna run the ball and they're gonna hit each other, so we're gonna have to let them play. And it did. We saw some big hits, some big plays during that first half, and we're hoping to see the same in the second half. And real quick, as they're playing the school song, we want to give a little acknowledgement to the Mexia band as they're honoring their senior band members tonight. Those kids are just as much as part of these Friday night festivities as anyone else, as they go out and they practice every day to come on and put on their halftime show and play throughout the game for the fans as well as the players on the field. So we just want to say kudos to those senior band members as they're also taking Black Hatfield for the last time in their high school careers. And Jeremy, what are you expecting to see the second half? I'm
gonna be really upset if this second half ain't over in 45 minutes. We hit the first 2 drives lasted 15 minutes because the Zebras talked so much, and then the rest of the first half lasted 30 minutes. So
right, and so it's probably seems like between quarters lasted longer than the second quarter did, because you look up and it's 12 minutes to start the second quarter. Then I looked back down there and all of a sudden it was like 4 minutes and something on the clock. And I was like, my goodness, okay, we are going pretty fast today.
Well, your Mexia Black Cats are coming back onto the field right now. They've got the big Texas with the M on it and the Mexia spelt out, flags behind, leading them all out. And I tell you, while it's one good thing about watching them Cats this year has been that they are exciting to watch. They are excitable themselves, and it's good to watch young kids like that enjoy doing what they're doing.
It's been good to watch them improve, progress, and mature over the season. Some of the things we talked about at the beginning of the season that we were hoping that they would be able to correct and get right, they've been able to do that this year, and it's shown up on the field and it's in the results of these football games. And we talked a lot about coming into this week about making sure that they were going to be disciplined as they got ready for the game tonight against Salado, and they've proven that they worked their butts off and they studied their film and they practiced what they needed to, and they've done that the first half. Now we're going to see if they can come out the second half and do the same thing on defense and then come out on offense and be able to continue to move the ball and put points on the board.
Well, the one thing that was really impressive with Wednesday night when we had the 3 kids on, Jaden Proctor, Evan Harrison, and Jarrell Wiley, was any question I asked them, what they were worried about is being 1-0 this week. And talking about the discipline that the team is starting to evolve into. And that's one thing over the last couple of weeks that we have not seen is the unnecessary roughness penalties that we had seen the first couple 2-3 games of the year.
Yeah, they really downsized those personal foul penalties. And that's a good thing, and that's what you want to see from the team, is to cut those out, because those are plays that you don't want to have. They give away unnecessary yardage to the other team.
Well, Mejia's coming out, and they'll be kicking from right to left here to start out the third quarter. Oh, man, I look up, I think it's the fourth quarter already, Wallace. That's the way the game rolls. Martinez is going just a high – no,
he drives it down. And it's taking about the 15-yard line.
And number 20 breaks it around the left side, and he's just hammering.
Yeah. He's met by quite a few Black Cats and brought down at about the 40-yard line. Looks like they might be out to the 41.
He got whopper-jawed about 3 different ways there. He got hit, went one way, another Black Cat hit him, and he went that way. And then here come another Black Cat hit him, he went that way.
Yeah, so Salado will start the second half from their own 41-yard line. The Mejia's defense comes out on the field. Salado's offense comes out and huddles up as usual. They come up to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a snap back. Handoff around the edge.
Oh, and he breaks out to the right side, down the right sideline. He's across the 50.
He's pushed out, and he does get across the 50 and into.
That, once again, was a broken tackle in the backfield. They had him for about a 2-yard loss, and he was strong enough to break the tackle and picked up about 8 or 9 yards around the right side.
Right, and Dravion Cooper was able to get over there and force him out of bounds. You know, and that time the defensive end over on the left side of the defense just lost contain. And once that he broke that tackle, there wasn't anybody over there to keep him inside.
Now they're saying that was enough for a first down.
Yeah, and it'll be marked at the Mexia 49-yard line. Salado sends their play in. Number 1 brings in the play. They break the huddle, and it's going to be a little tight formation. Man in motion, handoff up the middle.
And he's still fighting for about 3 or maybe 4 yards.
Right, and that's going to be number 22 for Salado, who's able to.
It looked like there was some motion on that front line that time.
Yeah, it looked like a few people moved around. I know there was a man that went in motion. That's one thing with that formation and that set. You have guys, those up backs going in motion, and sometimes those eyes start moving around, and you're not sure who it is moving. They stay in the tight formation. Number 2 goes
Cooper
around the edge. And then he's brought down on the edge by Will Coleman.
Was that Coleman? So we have a 3rd and 3 here.
You know, and Mexia wants to be able to get off the field in these situations. You've got them to 3rd down. You know they're going to come out at you. You want to get a big stop here. Get your defense off the field, get the ball back in your offense's hands, hopefully.
Yes, if you can get a 2 or 3 yard loss here.
And Mexia stops him. And it's going to be short of the first down. He's going to be about a yard gain on that play, but that's going to bring it to 4th and about 2 on this play. It looks like Salado's leaving their offense in.
Well, when you're down 14-0 and you got 4th and 2 here, or it's about 4th and 2.
They're going to hustle up tight. Snaps back, hands off around the corner to number 2. He picks up the first down. You know, and you want to just watching the first half, watching the beginning of this drive, Jeremy, looks like number 2's the go-to player for Salado. They move him around and try to get him the ball different ways, going different directions. He was able to pick up the first down on that one. They come in and stay in that tight bunch. Hand off around the edge again. And that time, Prince Banks just
going to make a good open field tackle out there.
And that was number 2 again as he came around this time out around the edge and wide to the right. And Banks came out and he just kind of boxed him up, squared him up, and drug him to the ground. And that was a great open field tackle by Banks because he was there solo. And he was able to.
He had that interception earlier in the game, too, that was a big momentum change for the Black Cats in the first half.
It's big to see him out there because he's not typically on the defense, but he's making plays tonight.
Now we're going to just hand the ball up the middle, and Allen makes a tackle for about a 7-yard gain.
That's going to bring up 3rd and about 2, a long 2 to 3, but we're going to say 3 yards. You know, we're right back in this 3rd down and 3 situation, Jeremy. And you've already seen them go for it on 4th down, so you got to expect they're in 2-down territory. You need a big stop here and try to get the Salado offense off the field. They're trying to hard count and get Mexia to jump. They hold their water. He gets back under center. It's a snap. Handoff around the edge to number 2, and he's buried right at the sticks.
For it, though, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like he's right there, and it's going to give him, depending on the spot, he's going to have enough for the first down. As that was a pickup of 3 yards.
And this is what Salado wants to do. They want to shorten the game. Salado wants to.
Yeah, and they're going to give him the first down.
2 and 3 yards per play.
Well, one official signaled first down to move the chains, and then another came in. Yeah, and then he's going to signal to move the chains on down. It's going to bring up 1st and 10 from the Mexia 27-yard line. And now if you're the Black Cats, you got to try to get a stop.
Oh, and he's in the backfield.
Yeah, and he's driven back. And that's Dravion Cooper. coming in from that middle linebacker spot, and he just completely crushed the ball carrier.
It'll be a loss of a – no, they're going to let him say he got back to the line of scrimmage. It didn't look like he was nowhere near the line of scrimmage, though.
Well, it looks like they moved it back maybe about half a yard on that. But it looked like he hit him back further than that. Salado stays in their tight formation. It's going to be a handoff around the left side to 24. Oh, we got a flag on the play, and he's drugged down.
Poor, Jaleel Wright got just tackled out there on the right end.
And we're going to wait for the call from the officials as they're talking over.
They may change their mind and say Mexia did the holding.
You don't. It looks like Mejia's players are pointing back and Salado's players are marching back. So it looks like we're going to get a call against Salado.
But, yeah, right there on the right end, Jaleel was crashing down, and he was just pulled straight to the ground.
And it's going to be a personal foul, face mask against the Salado Eagles. So that's going to march them back 15 yards from the spot of the foul. And it's going to bring up second and about 25. Oh, yes.
Now, what happened earlier on this, though, Mexia got them behind, and that's when 22 broke that long 40-yard run. So Mejia's got to stay disciplined right here and get a quick stop.
It's going to be a handoff up the middle, and the
Nowhere
runner's brought down, yeah.
And they went back to the well again because that's the exact play that he broke 40 yards
But
on.
that time you had Big Dawson Scott and number 50 for the Black Cats, who is Jacob Adams, who wrapped up the ball carrier and brought him down. It was a gain of about 2 yards on that play. Snap back. The quarterback keeps it. Oh, and Dawson Scott gets there, and he's brought down and sacked at the 49-yard line. That's going to be a big loss for the Eagles as Dawson Scott was able to break through the line and get to the quarterback as he kept it on the play action and tried to find a receiver. Dawson was right on top of him and just rode him down to the ground. And that's a loss of about 10 yards on that play. And Salado lines up to punt. We're going to have Trey Holman back to receive the punt. Snaps back.
They're going to punt to
punts away, and it's up, and he's going to have a chance to return it. Oh, and great. Oh, he fair caught it. And Mejia's going to take over on their own 15-yard line for their first possession of the second half. You know, Jeremy, we talked about it. That was a great job by the defense. They were able to stand and hold long enough, and then they were helped out by a big penalty against Salado, and which got Salado behind the chains. And then the defense knuckled up, and they were able to get a sack and drive them backwards.
What Salado really did there was really hurt themselves because they kept the ball for almost 6 minutes of that first part of the third quarter, and they were not able to come away with any points. So now Mexia, if they can get a good sustained drive here, wipe the third quarter out, we're going to the fourth with a two-score lead.
And so you're going to have Proctor in the backfield by himself. He snaps it. Oh, and he just takes off around the right side, and he picks up about 7 or 8 yards on that. You know, Mexia had trips down here to the bottom.
Mexia had spread them out on that play. That's something that didn't show any in the first half.
And Proctor took it, and he looked to his left and then realized nobody was on the right, and he just took off around the right edge and was able to get a big gain on first down. It's going to bring up second and about 3. As Mexia comes up to the ball, it's going to be Proctor with one back in the backfield with him.
That looks
Snaps
like Wiley.
back. It's going to be a handoff to Wiley. He breaks up the middle. Oh, and he spins, and that's a big run for Wiley.
Out across the 35.
It's a pickup of about 13 or 14 yards on that run.
That was one of those runs that looked just like a typical Wiley run that he was going to spin out of it and just go 70 yards for a touchdown.
Right, you know, and right now he found a hole on that one. He was able to explode through before anybody was able to touch him.
He's got twins to the top and one to the bottom here with an up back. Wiley behind, and he's going to spin. Quick
throw
pass
us to
out
Holman.
to Holman.
And he cuts upfield, and he picks up about 7 or 8 on that. You know, and we've seen him run that a couple times tonight, and it's been effective.
Salado is really back on their heels right now. They're not really knowing what to expect. Earlier in the game, they were penetrating upfield against the Black Cats, but right now it's like they're holding their ground because they don't know if they're going to be thrown on. They don't know if they're going to be run on.
It's been a chess match. They've been trying to put 9 in the box, and right now Mejia's just throwing the ball, and they're going to have to respect it. And this time Wiley gets it, and he breaks through a couple tackles.
And he looked like he was going to pick up a lot more yardage.
And he picked up the first down with a gain of about 4 yards on that run.
And another tough run by Wiley. So Mexia will gets enough yardage there for another Black Cat first down as Mexia has the ball on their own 47-yard line.
You know, and right now they're doing exactly what we talked about. Mejia's moving the ball, and they're chewing up clock. As that clock keeps running, it's going to be Proctor in the backfield with Wiley. Twins to the top, single receiver to the bottom.
Snap back, and it's going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle.
Oh, and he breaks loose.
And he has one man to beat.
Oh,
and he's going to grab him, and he's across the 30-yard line.
And, you know, all that safety could do was just reach out and hope that he could hang on long enough to keep him from breaking loose. And he was just hanging on to the bottom of his jersey.
I want to say one thing about number 3 there. Number 3's got some strong hands.
To
reach out and grab his jersey and hold him till
it looked like that jersey stretched for about 3 yards, and he was just laying on the ground going for a ride.
Wiley's shirt was an extra large. Now it's a double X.
You know, and that's another big run, and it seems like, you know, we talked about it last week how Mexia is able, as the game goes on, to just kind of lean on those lines of other teams and wear them down, and then Wiley starts catching holes, and then it becomes a track meet with him, and he runs hard and fast every time he touches it. And this time he gets it again, and he's off the left side.
You know what? I'm going to talk to Coach Sandoval this Wednesday, and we're going to get us some skin-tight jerseys.
Yeah.
Because the only way Wiley's getting touched here is they're just holding on to his jersey, and they've turned a tight jersey into a loose jersey on number 5.
Those are the new jerseys. They haven't been in the dryer enough times to shrink down on them. So right now they're just grabbing pieces of the jersey and hanging on until somebody can come help them get him down.
But Wiley looks good, and that's what we were talking about. Them 1 and 2, 3. Well, actually, it's about 4-yard runs that he was having in the first quarter are now turning into 10 and 15-yard runs.
Right. And then those couple plays where they were getting to him right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard behind the line, he's turning into 3 or 4-yard runs.
Yes.
And this time we're going to have an up back. Wiley set beside Proctor, snap back, hand off to Wiley up the middle. And he just powers down.
By number 58 right there.
And that's going to be about a 2-yard gain for Wiley. It's going to bring up third and about 4 or 5.
You can tell they're tackling. They're not near as aggressive here in the third quarter as they were in the first half.
Right. In the first half, it looked like they were stacking the box and they were all just firing straight ahead because they were expecting for Mexia to just run the ball. And now Mejia's come out throwing it on them, and they're back, like you said earlier, they're back on their heels. And they're having to try to see if a receiver is going to run a route or try to block them, and it's giving them that extra split second to make a play.
Well, now Mexia comes trips to the top and 1 to the bottom with Wiley in the backfield with Proctor, and they're just checking the time, and Proctor's going to snap back and hand it to – no, he's going to run around the left end.
And there's nothing but green grass. And he's tripped up.
And we got a couple of flags on the field, and I think they're going to hold him for a hold down here, which will be a 10-yard penalty, and put it back about where the line of scrimmage was.
You know, and he took that ball and he went around, and there was nobody out in front of him.
They were all keying on Wiley, and everybody went with Wiley.
Holem locked up with his defender, and then there was a one man at that safety spot that was able to reach out and grab his foot. We are going to get a hold against the Black Cats. It'll be marked off from the spot of the foul.
That's really tough. It's going to put Mexia back at third and about six.
Yeah.
But when you're down there as a wide receiver, that's what I played. It was really tough to be out there one-on-one because you want to block for your guy. But the best way to do is just get in his way. Don't let him get to your man. Just keep your body in between him and your running back. That way you don't have that chance to be called for holding out there on the island. We got trips to the right, twins to the bottom. Proctor's all by himself. He brings Wiley And he hands off to Wiley.
No, he keeps it up the middle, and he cuts to the left, and he's into the
Black Cat touchdown.
And that was a great job faking and selling that handoff to Wiley. As it seems like the whole Salado defense went with Wiley, and Proctor just pulled it out, shot through the middle, and then made one hard cut to the left, and he was around, and nobody was going to catch him.
It's pretty evident who Salado's keying on.
Right, and we talked about it earlier in the year. When you key on one person, Mexia has a lot of weapons, and tonight they're showing that because they're getting a lot of other guys involved in the plays, and it's been to the advantage as Mejia's up 20-0, waiting on the extra point. Kicks up, and kick is driven through and good.
21-0. The Black Cats are leading the Salado Eagles at Black Cat Field with
2:15 left in the third quarter. We're going to take a break and bring you the word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with more action in the third quarter from Black Cat Field.
To Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
We're back at Black Cat Field. Jeremy Sunday and Wallace High bringing you the play-by-play. The Black Cats just scored with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the third quarter to put the Black Cats up 21-0. As Martinez gets ready to kick it off from right to left here. Wallace, that was a good drive for Mexia.
Yeah, it was a great drive. They were able to work 4 minutes off the clock and put up 7 points. As we get a kick back to the 20-yard line. Oh, and he's able to get around some.
What
and then he is leveled on that sideline.
That was a Jaleel Wright hit number 24 along the sideline, and 24 still hasn't gotten up.
And that was – yeah, and he's laid out over on the sideline, the Mexia sideline, and he took that ball at the 20, and Mexia had three cover guys around him. He was able to get outside of them and get up the sideline. It looked like he was going to break, but you saw Jaleel Wright come flying from his spot over to the sideline, and he just leveled him and knocked him into the Mexia sideline.
And hopefully it just knocked the breath out of him. Because we don't want any of our UIL students getting hurt at all.
No, and you see him now, and you hear the applause. It's number 24 from Salado. He gets up to his feet, and he's walking across the field back to his sideline. The training staff is over there walking with him. Sure, they're going to check that young man out, and like Jeremy said, we're going to hope that he's okay. Because no matter if they're from Mexia or Salado or any other towns, you never want to see these young men get hurt.
Yeah, he took a heck of a crunch over there, and that's one of them. You don't like to see that long return, but yet when you see a hit like that from one of your defenders, it just amps your team up. It makes somebody else want to go out and hit hard like that.
Right, and when you saw it, you saw the Mexia sideline just come alive and start hopping around and slapping each other on top of the helmets, and now the defense comes back on the field as they await Salado's offense.
Well, Salado runs up to the line of scrimmage like they normally do. And they move number 2 in motion. And they're just going to be a handoff up the middle.
Oh, and he finds a little
to the right, number 3.
Yeah, and he picks up about 6 yards on that run. And that time he was able to get a little seam out there, and he just rumbled forward for 6 yards.
And Salado's not been in any hurry tonight to run their offense. I mean, they do run to the line of scrimmage, but they don't get their plays in real fast. And they don't take a lot of time, but time is not on their side at all. And Mexia blitzes, and number 21, Cooper, hits a man behind the line of scrimmage. And they're saying he was able to gain about a yard.
Right, it's going to bring up 3rd and about 3 here.
Cooper has played, man, he's been able to match their snap count pretty regular tonight.
Yeah, and it seems like he's having a lot of fun out there. He's getting to bounce up and down, back and forth to that line and then shoot those gaps, which is seems like he does very well, and he's making a lot of plays out there on the field tonight. He and Jacob Allen, who's playing linebacker with him. And there's going to be a handoff around the side to 22. And he's brought down, but he does pick up enough yardage for the first down.
And he was hit really oddly. I hope he gets he's fine, but he was hit real oddly, and his neck turned sideways on that play. But the clock continues to run, and it's a minute left in here in the third quarter.
You know, and right now, if you're Mexia, you want to hold Salado out, but really, if they're going to just keep running and run the clock, that's playing into Mejia's favor.
Yes.
As they're up 3 scores right now.
And that's going to be a gain of about 4 there.
It's going to bring up second and about 6 for the Eagles, and it moves the ball down to the Mexia 40-yard line.
But like you said, as a Black Cat, you're with them running the ball the way they run the ball, and they're not able to break any big long runs other than one 40-yard run by 22. You just want to tackle and get 3 or 4. Let them get 3 or 4 yards and tackle them and keep the clock running, and because all they're doing is taking it.
And he's held up in the backfield.
That's going to be big Dawson Scott once again, Wallace.
Yep, he gets back there and he wraps up the ball handler as he was coming across the formation, and he brings him down.
That's going to be the last play of the third quarter. Is Mejia's got a 21-0 lead. We're going to go to a break here between quarters.
We'll be back with fourth quarter action from Black Cat Field.
Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Today's game brought to you by Eagle Auto Parts, located on Main Street. For more information, visit eagleauto.com. Today's game brought to you
And as we come back to Black Hat Field, we're going to start the fourth quarter. Mexia has a lead of 21-0 over Salado Eagles. And it's going to be Salado's ball. They're going to be marching into the west end zone. The ball's going to be at the Mexia 41-yard line. They come up to the line. It's a handoff around the left side. And he's drugged down by Jacob Allen.
I'm going to go over some quick scores from around here as we weren't able to – the quarter went by so fast in the third.
You better make it quick, Jeremy.
La Vega's up 31-14 over Brownwood. Dieball's leading Franklin 21-7. McGregor's leading Groesbeck 35-6. Lorena's beating Madisonville 27-10. Robinson's beating Fairfield 20-5 tonight in Fairfield. As we come to the line, Slado's come up fourth down, and he's – he did hand off.
And then the ball carrier's carried over to the sideline and brought down. There's going to be enough yardage for the first down.
It looked like the quarterback had kept that, and 35 and Connor McNeil had the quarterback dead to rights, but he was able to get the ball off.
The ball's going to be spotted at the Mexia 30-yard line. And that was Lamarian Miller able to drag the ball carrier down.
Grandview's leading Whitney 21-7. Tig is beating Maypearl 34-0. Mark's leading Dawson 48-6 in the third. Hubbard and Wortham are tied at 14. And Salado hands off to number two around the right end.
Oh, and he's going to be strung out by Banks, and he's drugged down.
And he's going to be taken down for about a 4-yard loss. And Mexia got lucky there and didn't get a horse collar.
Salado's calling for a horse collar, but that play happened right in front of the ref, so I'm guessing that hand had to have been on the shoulder and not inside the pads.
Yeah. And then there's Milford leading Coolidge 46-16 in the third period. So That's some of your local scores from around here. Some big surprises so far. La Vega's not having any problem with Brownwood, and Robinson's gone over to Fairfield and is putting it on them. So,
we got a false
illegal
start.
motion.
There's going to be illegal procedure by the upback from Salado.
As the Black Cats were blitzing once again, trying to fill up those gaps, and Salado just started a little early as one of the linebackers come running in. So that's going to put Salado behind the chains once again.
Yeah, they're going to go from 2nd and 7, which is not a bad spot for them, to now 2nd and 12, which puts them behind, and they're going to have to try to run run their offense and try to get yardage here.
And they're down to under 10 minutes in the fourth quarter now. So, I mean, time is against them right now.
Right, and they're down three scores. They're going to need 3 possessions. And
they
allow the play to go. And again, that upback moved prior to the snap. But the play carried out. There wasn't a flag. He was able to pick up about 5 yards on that carry.
Bringing it to 3rd and about 7, maybe a long 6.
And like we said, as long as they're running and they're keeping it in play and Mejia's tackling them, the clock keeps running. And, Salado may be able to move the ball, but they're just going to run out of time unless they do something else. Handoff around the left end.
And it's a big hit by Jacob Allen.
And it's going to bring up 4th down and about 3 yards here. And at this point, Salado's going to have to go for it because you're not going to be able to trade a field goal when you're down 3 possessions in the fourth quarter, and the clock's drawing near 9 minutes.
The sideline's getting loud from ahead. It's 4th down and 4. And, Wallace, looking at the crowd, I guess maybe the cold weather kept a lot of people in because the crowd's not near as thick as what it usually is here at Black Cat Field.
Yeah, and
Salado runs to the line, and they're going to try to draw Mejia off, and they look over to the sideline and call a timeout for Salado.
And Mejia's – there's the energy on the Mejia sideline in that Mejia defense is great right now. They're bouncing around. They're dancing.
That brisket I cooked for them last night.
They're having a good time. They're playing loose, fast, and free right now. And you see Salado trying to figure out what they're going to do here. It's going to still be 4th and looking at it from where the sticks look to be over there, Jeremy, it looks like it's closer to about 4th and 4 than 3.
Oh, that's old Bobby Forrest. He's
probably talking and moving around.
He ain't paying no attention over there. He's showing someone, looky here, Robinson's beating Fairfield tonight. Coach Forrest, he's been around Mejia a long time. He played ball here, went to school. He's an actual Baylor graduate.
Yeah, and it's –
and he's always been part of the football program. He's run the chains for as long as I can remember.
Salado's offense comes back on the field, and here comes the Black Hat defense. It's going to be a big play right here. It's fourth and about 4 yards.
And Mejia stays in that 6 down lineman and 2 linebackers and 3.
Salado hustles up to the line of scrimmage. Man goes in motion. It's a handoff around the edge.
And Coleman looked like he had him in the backfield, and he was they were able to pick up the 1st down.
There was a defender was just taken out. It seemed like he was going to be able to hold the edge, but it looks like a block was thrown, and the runner was able to get around and pick up the 1st down. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the Mejia 15.
Let's just roll clock, guys.
But it looks like they did stop the clock as he went out of bounds on that play.
It's the longest the clock's been stopped all
right.
night.
I was going to say that may be the first time we've seen a play stop for an actual player going out of bounds all game. And it's a handoff up the middle.
Be hit and gain about 4 yards here as the clock just continues to run here.
Right, he's going to get down to about the Mejia 10-yard line. And we get the side judge is telling the Salado coaches and team to move back and stay on the sideline. And the play comes in.
We're down to 8 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. Mejia leading 21-0 here in the fourth quarter. Salado knocking on the door. And he's going to be tackled at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be big Eric and Jacob Allen once again.
Yeah, big Eric Metlock reached out across the man and just grabbed the ball carrier and Jacob Allen flew downhill and finished him off.
Cooper and Allen have been everywhere tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 6 down linemen, and they're taking blocks, so that's where you want your linebackers making your tackles.
And they're doing exactly what you want them doing with this type of defense, is they're flying and filling gaps and pursuing the ball, and they're making big plays.
So now it brings up a 3rd and about 6. It's going to be a handoff.
Handoff,
22 is going to take it up the middle for a touchdown for Salado Eagles. So Salado finally gets on the board with 7.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
You know, and you want it to shut out if you're Mexia, but when you look at it, it's not all that bad because, you know, Salado used up 4.5 minutes right there on that one drive. They're still down 2 possessions.
Yes. So if Mexia could get the ball here and just keep the ball and move it, I think we have 2 possessions in the 3rd quarter. Well, we had 3. They were able to get it back with just a couple of minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Right. Oh, and that extra point bangs off of the upright, and it is no good as it falls back into the end zone.
And then Salado had the ball first run 6 minutes. Mexia run 4 minutes, had 2 minutes left. Salado had the ball for that 2 minutes, and now this 5 minutes into the 4th period. So, I mean, they're having 6 and 7 minute drives. And when you're down by 3 scores, you got to score in 1 and 2 minute drives.
Right. You know, and then they missed the extra point that time, so our score is 21-6. Mexia on top of Salado with 7 minutes and 29 seconds left in the 4th quarter. So if you're Mexia right here, Jeremy, you have to expect they may come out and try to hit you with an onside kick or something some type of trick on this kickoff to try to get the ball back, because you can't expect that Salado thinks they're going to be able to kick to Mexia, get the ball back, and then be able to run two drives to score. So if you're Mexia, you got to be looking, and it looks like Mexia sending out their hands team, and they're expecting an onside kick attempt right here. And we'll watch and see the way, and the kicker, number 2 for Salado, lays the ball flat across the tee. So it looks like we're going to get some type of onside kick attempt. It may be the little beehive and and they break up and then they break out. And now the ball is set up straight on the tee. And we'll see how he approaches it. And he does try to onside kick it.
And Salado recovers it looks like.
I'm not sure. It's a scrum down at the bottom of the pile.
And Salado does
come up with the ball.
Nobody from Mexia even went and tried to get on that ball.
No, they let it roll. They let it go through the first 2 lines there on the hands team, and I'm not sure why no one tried to go and corral that ball sooner before it got to where it did, because they had 2 lines stacked up close to the 50. The ball got through both of those, and then there was a big gap between that second line and those return men behind them. And the ball just died in there, and Salado was able to get a couple guys down there sliding around. You know, and you never know if Mexia may have gotten on it, because under those piles, it's just a dogfight to see who comes up last holding that ball. And that time Salado happened to have the ball whenever the pile unfolded. So Salado's offense will come back on the field, and they'll have the ball at the Mexia 45-yard line. Snap back, handoff come around the edge.
And he's going to be hammered by
Jawan Wright and Will Coleman.
Jaleel Wright's brought the pass tonight.
That's Jawan. That's the
Jawan,
younger
not Jaleel,
brother.
Jawan. And I might have got them mixed up earlier on that kickoff for Mexia. It was Jawan that hit him on the sideline.
And there's a run right up the middle to number 22 again. And he's going to be brought down short of the first down marker. He's going to bring up 3rd and 1.
And that Mexia defense has been on the field a lot here in the second half.
Right.
They needed a little bit of break there.
And right here, you're going to have to key on number 22 and number 2. Those seem to be their featured backs right here. Salado hustles up to the line. 24 goes in motion. It's going to be a quarterback sneak.
I'm not understanding why they're not getting in for motion, because just about every play they have a man in motion. that's not supposed to be in motion. When you send a man in motion, he has to set for a second before another man goes in motion, and that's not happening at all.
Play comes in. Salado hustles up to the line of scrimmage. They're going to be spread out a little. Snaps back. It's going to be a pass.
And there's a hold right there.
And then the ball carrier is brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
How do you not get a hold on Dawson Scott out there as he's reaching and gets jerked to the ground? I mean, we were talking about earlier, you don't want a flag on every play, but if it's a block that's or a hold that's keeping someone from my tackle, that's a different story.
Right, and
open field on top of that.
Yeah, he was in the open field there, and he had a chance at making a tackle, and defensive guys shouldn't get tackled to the ground. And Salado makes their way up to the line of scrimmage. The defense sets. It's going to be a handoff.
And he's going to be tackled for about a 4-yard loss. A 4-yard gain.
Yeah. And it's going to bring up 3rd and about 6 here. So here you're in that mid-range on 3rd down. And you're going to have to see what Salado's going to come out and try to do on this play. As they're in 2-down territory. If you're Mexia, you want to get a quick stop and limit their yardage on this play and bring up a longer 4th down if that's what's going to happen.
So Salado runs to the line. It's just going to be an inside
handoff to 22, and he's drugged back and slung down. And that's Dawson Scott as he wrestles him down to the ground.
As we got 4th down. Oh, no. We got a late penalty coming in here.
It's thrown over outside the numbers on the Salado sideline.
As we're down within 4 minutes and 49 seconds.
It's going to be a dead ball penalty, looks like, which means it'll still be 4th down.
And that'll be Mejia's clapping.
And I want to say they got an unsportsmanlike personal foul against Salado. And all I can think is that's on the sideline.
That looked like it was on the coaches.
Right.
That when you're a running team like Salado is, as a coach, you cannot let that happen.
No, because that puts them way behind the chains here.
And they're going
to
drop
back and punt.
And here comes Holman on, and he's just itching at the bit to get a punt that he can return because he's been so close all year long, and he wants to make that big play and put the game out of reach.
Oh, and that kicks up, and he's not going to have a chance at returning this one. Oh, and it bounces down. They're going to kill it inside the 10-yard line. Goes out at about the 9.
The big thing, though, there was a good stop by that Mexia defense.
Right, and
with 8 of the coach down here probably saying something he shouldn't have said to the referee.
Right, and you get those penalties, and they really hurt you there because Salado, being down 2 possessions, they needed to be able to march and try to put points on the board there, and they weren't able to. Now Mexia gets the ball back with 4:33 left, up to 2 possessions, and even if Mejia's not able to get the ball in the end zone or put up points right here, they just want to run the clock down.
A couple of first downs, and Mexia will be happy here. Get out of your end zone. And it's handoff to Wiley up the middle.
Oh, and he's still trucking.
Tackles.
And he gets some help from his lineman behind him, and they're still pushing forward.
It's going to be a gain of about 6 there.
And that's going to be a great run for Wiley on first down. It's going to bring up 2nd and about 4 here for the Black Cats. And it not only is it a gain of about 6, but it gets them away from their goal line and out to about the 15-yard line. And Mexia looks like we're going to have twin receivers down to the bottom of the field, a single receiver up top, and they're just letting clock run right here.
Yes,
they're going to break the huddle and let those big guys go set up with about 5 seconds on the clock. And Proctor's watching the play clock. He's going to get them set, and he's snapping it with 1 on the clock. It's going to be.
He keeps
it up the middle.
And he's going to have
it looks like he's going to have enough for the first down.
And if Mexia can get about 3 more first downs, this ball game's over. I mean, they're just running clock, and Salado hasn't stopped Mexia since the first quarter.
Right, and they're moving it, and they're getting holes now. Those big linemen are moving the Salado defensive players out of the way, and those backs are able to find holes now. And 5 and 6 yards every run, that's going to keep the chains moving for Mexia.
Like Mexia, when they snap this ball, it'll be under 3 minutes. And I'm really kind of upset, Wallace. It's 9:30. The second half has lasted longer than the first half. This is not right.
And it's going to have trips to the top, single receiver to the bottom, Harrison in motion. And we're going to look back and we're going to throw a pass.
And Wiley
catches it. And it's going to be a gain. He goes down inbound, so the clock keeps moving. It's a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. I told somebody earlier, they asked what time the game was going to be over, if I could do something for them. And I said, we usually get out of there here about 10:30, sometimes 11 o'clock. I said, we might get out of here before 10 o'clock tonight, so that's not bad.
We'll be out of here before we'll leave Freddie to carry all the equipment.
He may want some alone time after he sees that Grosbeck score.
Yeah, he's going to go sit in his truck and listen to some Bon Jovi tonight. Better days.
And Proctor's just walking up and down his offensive line giving signals. He's going to move back into position with 3 seconds on the play clock.
It's just going to snap and hand off. No, he's going to keep
it around the edge. Oh, and
he
reverses field, and then he just goes down. And that's a smart move by him. Keeps him from having to take any kind of hit or tackle, and it keeps the clock running. You lost some yards on it, but it's not a bad play on that one.
I can handle that because you got a 40-second clock that's going to start up. But Salado's going to take a timeout here with 1:44 left because that clock would have went down to almost a minute left.
Right. And Mejia's still going to have the ball 3rd and about 13. And right here, if you're Mexia, you get tempted to want to go for it and get that first down, Jeremy. But I don't know if you don't just take your shot at another run. If you pick it up, you pick it up. If not, you keep running clock. And if you make Salado use another timeout, they use a timeout to stop the clock, and then you punt it away to them. You're up 2 possessions. You don't, you limit the amount of time on the clock.
And unless Mexia just does something to shoot themselves in the foot with a turnover or something right here, Mejia's pretty much salted this game away. The worst thing you could have is a turnover for a touchdown here. But even you would get the ball back. But turnovers is the only thing that's going to cost you a ball game right now, being up 21-6.
Right. That's why I think we'll see what Mejia's going to do. They're going to come out. What
Mexia needs is a good 14-yard run right here by Wiley and just say, you know what, ball game, guys. Let's go into victory formation.
We're going to roll out. Oh, and Proctor, he tried to roll out and he dropped the ball, but he was able to get on top of it. But he moves.
I'm not understanding why we're throwing the ball.
He moves it back to the Mexia 5-yard line,
and
then Salado calls the timeout. So they'll stop the clock at 1:41. That time I think it would have just been better for us to line up, hand it to the running back, run ahead. Maybe pick up some yards, maybe break one and get a first down.
That's them times where you're wondering where Jason Garrett is.
Right. Be conservative and clap after the play.
Let's clap a little bit and let's just hand the ball off.
But now we'll have Prince Banks who drops back deep in his own end zone to get ready to punt this ball away. And right here you got to be smart because he's going to have his heels back by the end line. You're going to need a good snap from the deep snapper.
Fairfield's fighting back in their game. They're back within 1 score.
Prince Banks is going to have to catch this ball and punt it out because Salado should bring pressure on this.
And Wortham's down 20-14 in their game in the 4th quarter. It's going to be a snap back to Banks here.
Back catch.
And it went off the side of his leg.
A shank, and they're going to get a Mexia roll on it.
And it looked like it hit a black cat right there. Because that ball would look like it was going to roll.
And then it just died.
Yeah, so.
But it's going to be Salado's ball at the Mexia 38-yard line.
With 1:33 remaining, Mejia's up 21-6. I want y'all to know that this last 5 minutes has taken longer than the whole first and second start of the second half.
I think we've heard more whistles. We've seen a couple timeouts. That clock stopped more here.
Neither coach used a timeout in the first half. Both coaches went into halftime with 3 timeouts. And that's one thing I've noticed with Mexia this year. They don't use their timeouts a lot of times.
So right now you're going to get Salado marching back out onto the field. Their offense is coming out. Mejia's defense is awaiting them. The play comes in. Salado hustles up to the field, up to the ball. Snap back.
He's going
the
to
quarterback drops and rolls, and he throws a pass out.
And Prince Banks is going to stop him at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and he just pulls him down.
Prince Banks has played a heck of a game on the outside.
Yes,
tonight.
he has.
He's had an interception on top of that. He hasn't played a lot of defense this year. But the one thing about Banks is when he's been in there, he's made plays. He had a huge catch last week, and he's just a sophomore.
Right, and Salado hustles back to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a snapback. Handoff coming around the left side.
And he breaks inside. It looked like Coleman was going to get a good shot on him.
Yeah, Coleman forced him inside, and then the other Black Hats were able to wrap him up.
But we're down to 50 seconds left.
It's going to be third and about 4.
I think Salado is going to drop back and throw a 20-point score here. What you think?
We've seen him try to throw it a few times.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, and it hasn't been very successful for him.
Yeah, I think
they're just running it.
Hand it to this number 2 and let him do his juju.
Yeah, and he's going to pick up a first down there.
That number 2 is a good ball player, though.
Yeah.
They've relied on 2 and 22 most of the night, and they both run the ball really hard. It's hard to run on a defense that gangs tackles as much as Mexia has this year.
Right, and when they're able to get you off the field.
And
he's
going to
drop back
to
look for a pass.
And
the ball's up
Miller
in
is
the
going to go up and intercept
that
ball.
And he pulls it down at the 2-yard line.
And that will salt this ball game away. Your Mexia Black Cats are going to get another win on Black Cat Field and go to 3-1 in district.
4-1.
4-1 in district.
And they'll lock up second place in the district.
And that will also lock up a playoff spot for them, as well as the Mexia Black Cats have just played an outstanding game here tonight. It seems like the colder the games get, the better the Black Cats get.
Yeah, and right here the ball's going to be placed at the 3-yard line. You expect that they're going to come out in victory formation, and as the quarterback takes it, you want to be smart and don't take that knee in the end zone.
Yes, I mean, you almost on your first play really want to just tell Proctor, hey, I want you to take the snap and fall forward about 2 or 3 yards. And Salado's not going to give them any problems. Mejia's going to pitch the ball off and walk off to their sidelines. And like we said, the Black Cats have won another ball game, and that's going to bring them to 4-1 in district, as Wallace just spoke on. And
they'll clinch a playoff berth. They'll clinch. I believe they'll clinch the second seed in the district. And this was this game was about. It was the 2 teams that were locked for that number 2 spot. Both teams came into the game 3-1 in district, and Mexia came out and was able to get a victory tonight as they topped the Salado Eagles. And Salado will drop to 3-2 in the district.
And I believe Salado plays Conley next week.
No, they'll have Fairfield next week. Salado will have Fairfield next week, and that'll be to decide either third place
or fourth place,
or fourth place, or if Fairfield or Salado is able to get into the playoffs, depending on how tonight ends up in the district.
Fairfield is right now with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're down 20-13 to the Robinson Rockets at Fairfield Eagle Stadium. So that's a big surprise in this district right now. We've played both of them teams, and to me, you would have thought that would have been a pretty I'm not going to say an easy win, but Fairfield would have won going away with that in Fairfield.
Right, and right now, just if that score holds true for the rest of the night, it's going to throw a big screwball into the district standings for the playoff race for that third and fourth spot, because that would put Robinson in that thick of that hunt. And then Robinson, Fairfield, and Salado would be battling it out for those last 2 spots.
Well, we know who's going 1 and 2 now.
Right.
Conley's going 1, and the Cats are going 2.
And this is a great game by Mexia. It was a game that they had to come out and they had to get, and they were able to come out on top. They came out from the very beginning, and they stalled that first drive. But after that, the Black Cats start moving the ball and they pretty much set the tone for the game, offensively and defensively.
Well, we're going to wrap this up at Black Cat Field. It's been fun, Wallace, once again. from Black Cat Field with Greer Media Time, it's Jeremy Sunday and Wallace High saying good night. See y'all here. I will be back in next week on Friday night to bring you the Lorena Leopard Mexia Black Cat game.
Listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.